Hi, Athena.
Hi.
So good to
My,
have you. I'm Michael Perlin. For everybody who doesn't know, this is our first course, course one of the Starseed Enlightenment um, class. So we're really happy to start this with you today. I have Athena StarSeed with me, and we can talk about why her last name is Starseed maybe later, and why this channel is called Starseed Films, for those of you who don't know, but it's a very important word. But this is part one, and welcome.
I'm so excited about this. We have been planning this probably for the last, I don't know, 1,000 lifetimes. And we're finally here. I remember when we thought it was going to be 2012. It's going to be 2012 and we're going to do it. And now we're doing it.
Yeah, well, it was a lot of things had to happen before we started this course, and so it's going to be 10 parts, I think. Did we say?
Yeah,
Or
we're gonna do 10 parts.
11?
And I think it's also it's really great that we're doing it right now because there is a tipping point that's happening on the planet. And we were talking about that earlier, which we'll mention again, is this cycle that we're going through where it's easier to wake up because of our astrological alignment. And even in 2012, when we were going through our human condition, which is, coupling up, having children, changing jobs, going through the
Yeah.
yoga stretches of life, that's also part of waking up.
Okay, so let's start right there. What does waking up even mean? And so and that since this is part one, this is called the meaning of self-realization. A lot of people have their own ideas about what that means, or they have this perceived understanding of what where it comes from. But that's what part one is about, and I guess it's really is in alignment with what you just said, waking up. So what does it mean to you? What is self-realization for people who just have no idea what it means?
Okay, so I want you to imagine that you're in the kitchen, okay? And you have like a little tiny chocolate rolled in cookie dough. Do you ever like roll something up in cookie dough and then you're going to bake it?
Hmm.
We are like little sweet chocolates of God, little God drops of chocolate, and we have to unroll ourselves out of that cookie dough, and it's an unveiling. So remembering who you are would probably be the best way to describe self-realization. It's not something you go get, it's something that is revealed or emerged.
So the word realization, that you realize who you actually have been the whole time, basically.
Right. It's like a
And
character on a stage thinking that it's Hamlet going, "Oh my God, I'm an actor."
I like the word
I am not
self-realization.
Hamlet. I'm not Hamlet.
Yeah, one of the things I love about that word is it can go for any faith, any religion, any spiritual path, because you're talking about realizing the self. And in Buddhism, there's just this great self that we all are. In Hinduism, they talk about self-realization as waking up to your divine nature. Christianity, the kingdom within. You were all children of God. Common sense tells us that we are sparks of God if we're children of God. So it's all there. In Judaism, Kabbalism, same thing. We come from this, we extend off this branch of the divine. So that's basically what self-realization is. I guess that brings up the next question, like, why are we talking about it? And what, why do we need to know about it? And if some people don't even care or do even want to do it,
Okay. All right.
then what's the point?
Okay. So what I want to say about what is the point of it, I want to go back to number one for just a second to pick up a couple things. It's a given that we are made in the image and likeness of God through all the scriptures, like you said, all the way across every religion. We're made in the image and likeness of God. Now, how to come to that allowance, not in a philosophical way on the mental plane, but in an embodied way and have it go all the way through. And here's what needs to be addressed so that you can realize it. You've got to let go of all of the vices and turn up all the virtues so that you end up shining into that instead of saying, "Oh, yes, I understand it here intellectually that I am also a part of God." and then you're cheating on your wife, or you're putting oil into the ocean, or you're throwing trash, on the ground, that would be an unconscious uh, move when you'd have to slowly, and the yamas and the niyamas in the, Pantajali's eightfold path, they go over the social responsibility and the personal responsibility. And we slowly, through having babies and being married and being divorced and loving people and losing jobs and getting jobs and losing houses and getting houses and going through fires, we purify ourselves and we balance like the black and the white wolf, right? Which one are you going to feed? The Native American fable. There's two wolves that show up every day, and one is pulling you into the vices, which is like fear, lust, greed of power, conditional love, speaking lies over truth, seeing the illusion and not seeing the true ultimate reality, and then being attached to things. Until we go up that path, we will not experience self realization. Now, why do people want self realization? Well, it gets you out of suffering for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
You're
Right.
not in a personal, like all the
And
time.
that's what the masters teach. That the the path to self-realization ends all suffering, and that's like the common core teaching of the masters. Um, and that if that doesn't make sense for some people, it just means that obstacles, challenges, uh, sadness, losses, things that happen in your life, you become less attached to the outcome or the consequences, and you realize that this is just part of the path, and you are just you're able to just walk right through calmly and with a beautiful sense of peace because you're self-realized, and that's what they teach. And that's what we're going to talk about here. It's going to be a short 15-minute. These courses are just about 15 minutes long. They may go longer, depending on how much amazing stuff we come up with. But let's talk about now what this shift in how we get there. Basically, how do we get on the path of self-realization, um, and then we can talk about a little bit how you and I started our journey to that, since we're so interested in it.
So, how do we get on the path? Well, it's an everyday inhale, exhale, present moment awareness. So, if you get stuck in traffic, you have a perfect opportunity to release your need to be somewhere at a certain time and then relax
Mm.
into the flow of where God's got you. God, the ultimate reality, however you call love, the circumstance of the universe, putting you in that traffic. That's an opportunity to release suffering. And
So
on a
the first step you'd say is just go with the flow with your life. Just let it flow.
be aware when you're not in the flow that you're creating the suffering. So, for example, I was at work the other day and there was a person at my work and she had a problem with somebody at work. And there's always a problem with somebody at work and somebody's problem. And she never realized that she actually, every time there was a problem, she was there. Every time there was a problem, she was there. So realizing that you're the author of your own script can relieve the suffering, and then you can make a choice to get out of the it's happening to me, to get into the lane, change lanes in the freeway. It's happening for me. You release the suffering, the flow opens up, and now in the magic of that life, you literally start to radiate. And the people that have virtue shining, they have more power. And the people that get power um, in a vice way, they actually start creating dis-ease. So some of those yogis, even in India, I'm not going to mention any names, but that abuse their power, they die at like 38. They'll use the dark energy because they're using it for the grandization of the self instead of, hey, omnipresent, everyone out here is me. So yeah, let somebody in on the freeway, feed somebody along your way, pick up the trash that's on you, Mother Earth.
So how does that help us become more self-realized?
The way it helps you become more self-realized is because you see yourself in all beings. Like Mother Teresa, when she was taking care of a leper, they're like, "How do you have the ambition or the passion to do this?" She says, "Oh, I see Christ in this person's face."
Mm,
She's taking care of Christ. And then when I work with Mahalakshmi down in Venice Beach and we were feeding the homeless, I said, "Wow, what made you want to feed the homeless since you were 14?" And she said, "I had a dream one night. I died and I went to heaven. And in heaven, everybody was feeding everyone. They're feeding each other. So I woke up
mhm.
and I said,
Yeah,
wow, heaven on earth is
yeah.
feeding people." And
You
then
hit it.
I said, "Do you see people?" And she says, "No, I see Krishna. I'm
Yes,
seeing Krishna." And I just
right.
was, oh.
That's absolutely right on the mark. Because self-realization, the first step is seeing everybody as you. And the masters will tell you the key to God consciousness is seeing the divine in everyone and seeing that everyone is also you. And um, for beginners that don't know if that's something that they are in alignment with, or just don't even understand how we could all be the same being, I would like to direct you to watch the movie Three Magic Words that I made in 2010. It's free now on YouTube, Movies TV. I'm not trying to promote it because it's free. I want you to watch that, and that will be the your beginner spirituality 101 in understanding um, how we are all a extension of one being. It's a really important step to get there first. And
And
then you can come on, sign on for course two. But you got to watch that
that's a
first.
prerequisite. Yeah. The other
Exactly.
thing I want to say, even if you're an atheist, let's just call self-realization the golden rule. Treat everyone as you want to be treated because everyone is an aspect of you. I believe we're in a hologram and this is a mirror dimension. So you're my mirror. And so if I look at everyone as my mirror, all I have to do before I am struggling with how to respond to somebody that offends me is go, what would I want somebody to do if it were me?
You know what? My favorite, you just reminded me of my favorite line in the whole movie is what you said at the very end. I think you were the very last person we see
In the
in the
movie,
movie.
the three magic words. Yeah, I
He
have a
said,
caveat.
if everybody knew that they were one, I'm not going to say exactly word for word because I want them to see it.
Watch it.
But
Yeah.
if everybody knew that they were one, we wouldn't kick people out of their homes. We would be loving and kind to everybody. We wouldn't go to war. We wouldn't abuse people or harm them. We would see them as beautiful, divine aspects of ourselves, and we would be the greatest planet in the Milky Way.
Ah,
That's what you said.
wow, you memorized what I said.
Yeah.
So, you know
That,
what helps people with this, Michael, is being a parent. When I had my daughter Reverence, I looked into her face and I literally would stare at her for hours and sob. And I saw myself. And then I was like, what would I want right now? And then I was like intuiting, do I want food? Do I want to be changed? And then that telepathy started picking up. And I raise my daughter and treat her the way I want to be treated.
mm, do unto others as you would like to. The golden rule. And you see that golden rule in every major religion and every belief system. And the mystical teachings of all the religions before they were twisted by man for his own egoistic designs was that we are all one. I mean, that is the, and everybody's heard that before, but they don't know how to practice it. This course will show you how to practice that so that we can raise the consciousness of humanity and evolve to a higher being on this planet. And right now, it's the most important time for that. Don't you agree?
I absolutely agree. And it's going to be a huge benefit for you when you do it because the more realized you are, the more joyful you are, the more abundant you are, the
Mm,
more love you have access to. So if I am,
right.
let's say I receive like $1,000 and I know that there's a lot of me's out there. I'm like now circular sharing my funds. If I have a beautiful house, I can invite people over and I can have a party. Or if I have a crust of bread, I can break it in half. I can share that. So I'm constantly thinking of myself as the other simultaneously. And sometimes, this is a little advanced, but I'm going to say it. Sometimes when I'm in, let's say, a group of people, I kind of go from singularity to omnipresent. And how do I do
Mm,
that? I imagine that, like right now, I'll do it with you. I'll bilocate. I'm imagining I'm me, and then I'm imagining I'm you looking at me as I'm looking at you.
mm. That is advanced. Now
Yeah.
just
So
take the two-way mirror.
when I do readings, so I make a living as an intuitive, and when I'm doing readings, that's the first thing I do. I breathe with my client, and then I imagine I am them looking at me, asking their self as my self, their higher self, the question and the answer. And when they
Right.
open, they hold the answer, and then I can receive it. So it's like a connection.
Okay. Now you're getting advanced, but that's fine. We're gonna go to all kinds of places with this, and but this was a great part one on self-realization. And let's close it up. However you want to close it up, Athena, with your beautiful, divine, positive energy, and the feminine, the goddess that you are. Um, Anything you want to say to close up the course, part
Um,
one?
I want to say that it's okay if this is the first time you're hearing it, and if you're struggling, and if some of it you get and some of it you don't get, or some of it you want to know more. Um, I definitely would love to help. This is my favorite thing to do in the world. So you can reach me at Ask Athena Intuitive Readings, and you can book a reading. Um, I definitely want to say the three magic words is something I've watched over 50 times. And not only is the message really powerful, but the music takes you on a journey that puts your brain in such a state. It's like a very slow brainwave, so that things you didn't understand before wash over you and that you understand. So the imagery is like you're a Buddha, a golden Buddha covered in mud. This music in the movie washes the mud off the golden Buddha, and things that might not have made sense before make sense.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, let
that's
us
your
help
homework.
you.
Yeah. So that's your homework. Don't come to course two without watching that movie if you haven't seen it. It's going to take you on the first journey to what self-realization is, basically. And I love you. Thank you so much, Athena. It was so great to do this part one with you.
Aw, I love you too, and we're excited, and we will see each other again for our second part. And blessings and light. Live your best mystical journey.
Love you. Bye.
Love you too. Bye.